One was Johnny who lived by himself. Two was Johnny who lived by himself. Three was Johnny who lived by himself. And one was Johnny. Alright, let's see. Let's see, everyone. Let me just pop that out. Yeah, I guess this doesn't come out until I start the stream, so I'm gonna be doing it like this every time. Unless somebody wants to join the team. Yo, what's up? Ugh, God. Why is this? Great. Why can't I fucking access? You know what? Sup, Fly on Evil Wings. I think you're a new guy. I don't know who you are, but just a forewarning: if you start saying weird shit, I'm gonna ban you. Because there have been a lot of bots lately. There have been a lot of fucking bots around here. Yo, what the fuck? Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. 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 And then... Okay, why is this like... Holy fucking shit, OBS is fucking tripping out on me. Yeah. Fucking hell. Let me be right back. All right, wait. Finally, fucking shit. But yeah, Iron Fist, I respect it. I made that joke about George Washington last stream. What was the joke? I don't remember. Sup? I'm back. I'm on the rack and I'm ovulating. Alright, hold on. Let me fucking figure this shit out, cause what the fuck? So let's hope I don't get Mossad botted like I got last time. What's up, Waloni-chan 07? We got Oh yeah. In addition to checking in SAR, just please remember to like the fucking stream. You know, just helps with the algorithms. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I always waver between I don't care about audiences and I guess, you know, more audiences better, right? Like, I don't know. I don't even fucking know. Part of me just wants to quit and move to Asia and not even think about anything of this ever again. But I'm here. And so I guess while I'm here and while I'm still trying to save America from its own self-destruction, I guess like it'd be better if people liked and subscribed more so I can, I guess, I don't fucking know. Who the fuck is Pill Eater? Sounds like a fucking retard. I'm just gonna wait for a little bit more people. Yo, always good to do some gym work, Waloni-chan. All right, I'm not seeing any likes. I'm not really seeing any likes going on the stream, so I don't know if this checking in SAR thing is working. Just check in SAR and whatever. Well, I don't fucking care. Whatever. Oh, thanks Waloni-chan. You are doing the things. What's up, Andrew? Oh, thanks, Cucker. I appreciate it. You know. Thanks, Holy Cow. Checking in SAR, check in, like, subscribe, all that jazz. I'm sure everyone here is a subscriber. I'm sure all 10 of you are subscribers. You know, actually kind of like it that it's small, you know? I actually kind of like... Because, like, I feel like if it gets too big, there's all these fucking retards that just, like, say retarded shit, and I gotta have to fucking mod and whatever. You know, this is kind of like just a chill space where I can just, like, fucking rant about what's going on. and not really like be afraid if I offend anyone, since like only 10 people watch this shit, so who the fuck cares? Um, though apparently people have been offended anyway, because obviously because they're sensitive pieces of shit. But whatever. To each their own. Yeah, that's right. I will say whatever the fuck I want because it's a free fucking country, and it's the First Amendment, right? Isn't that what we're all? Isn't that we're all? Isn't that what we're all talking about, right? In the past week, First Amendment. Um, America gets more depressing B in every day that passes. Yes, that is definitely correct. Let's start with a little bit of just let's see. Let me see if I can pull up something. Do do do. I'm gonna do this. It's two of me. And screen capture properties. Window capture. There we go. And this will do Google Chrome. Which one do we want? We want this one. Okay, and then let's make that full screen. So, oh god, that kind of like fucks up that part, doesn't it? Let's I don't fucking know, whatever. Oh no, everything is so confusing. You can tell I'm not it's funny cuz like my screen name used to be Technologic on Twitter, but obviously my technology skills have decreased over time because I'm old and I'm a boomer now. I kind of like feel my, like it's kind of just hitting me now that I'm in my 40s, when you guys turn 40, I'm sure you'll probably be like, what the fuck happened? Because, I, as some of you may know, I turned 40 around 2 years ago. I'll be 42 in November. Yeah, exactly. I feel like I could say shit that people like Jackson Hinkle or Haas even might not be able to because like I'm not that important. So like nobody's gonna be coming after me. I'm too small fry, for people to care what this random Asian person has to say about anything. But yeah, it's kind of the area in which I exist. But yeah, maybe I'll just turn off the main capture device. There we go. That makes it look a little bit more whatever. Okay, whatever. I think I'm yeah, whatever. There we go. Okay. OCD. I need as much space taken as possible. All right, so I guess before we get into the main topic is obviously what's been going on with Nick Fuentes and the Charlie Kirk stuff, and how Nick Fuentes is obviously trying to take advantage of the situation. And I think it's pretty obvious to anyone who's not a Groiper, or it's probably even obvious to Groipers because they know what they're doing. And they're pretty much trying to poach Charlie Kirk's audience right now. And a lot of that might be working a little bit, but I think some of them, I don't know. We'll get into that later. But I guess I wanted to talk about this first, since probably no one else will, in the communist sphere except for me. But yeah, there's the story of the Georgia workers. A lot of people were confused as to what happened, but basically, after they were detained, they were given the chance to be like, "Hey, we fucked up. You can work at the factory again." And then all of them were like, "Thanks, but no thanks. We're going home." They and this is kind of like the thread that talks about what they said when they came back. This is kind of like what's going on. So we'll get into that. I think though most people still think probably that they got deported. That's not true. They actually were told that they could stay, but they all decided to leave. So that is the biggest thing. This is actually very significant. And, I don't think this is the reason why Charlie Kirk happened, obviously. But it is convenient that, obviously all the Israel stuff that, Marco Rubio is trying to fucking push through and all this fucking bullshit that's going on in Gaza right now, in the past few days. That's definitely who was trying to, they were doing all that to cover that shit up for sure. But this is kind of like one of those things where, most people don't really realize the greater a lot of people don't even realize the greater implications of the Charlie Kirk thing, normies, but even less people understand the implications of this. So let's just get into it. Let's see what's going on here. I kind of perused this thread earlier. Oh wait, if I maximize there, I guess it changes size over there. Okay, never mind. I won't do that again. So let's just start. Okay, so a repatriated Korean worker from the Hyundai LG battery factory secretly wrote a detention diary about their 7-day experience in ICE custody in Georgia. The worker says ICE officers mocked them with words like as North Korea and Rocket Man, despite holding a business visa. So already right off the bat, we see that ICE agents are retarded Nazis, anti-Asian Nazis. You already see that they're also retarded, because why would you antagonize people who are literally on your side? We saw a lot of that actually in the Korean War, the initial Korean War. People, American officers didn't care if you were South Korean or North Korean, they just killed you. A lot of fucking massacres that happened in the South as well. Just like wanton target practice as well from some fucking Air Force pilots. They just shot children, So this isn't anything new. Fucking white people are psychopaths. That's not really a new thing. But we can see that it's fully on display, like fucking retarded people in Georgia. Obviously, we're recruiting from the most retarded of all people because, they have no morals. And so ICE agents are basically the Nazi SA. Or I guess the GOP SA, the official Nazi SA. We'll get into what Nick Fuentes and their ilk are later, but officially these are the fucking Nazi SA because not only are they racist and retarded, but they're Nazis because they don't even know what their geopolitical directives are about, and they just did Nazi shit because they're racist. That's pretty much it. Like, you could see that they just didn't even know what the fuck they were doing. They're just being fucking anti-Asian Nazis. Like I've been saying all this time, but nobody listens to me. But whatever. Actually, BM, it's not Judamus, it's Satanmus. And that happened already on 9/11. Right now we are in Satanist Ramadan, which occurs every year from now 9/11 to 10/7. That's Satanist Ramadan. So we're in the kind of like the Satanist Ramadan era right now, right? Okay, so I heard one South Korea work stayed, but not sure if it's bullshit. Yeah, it's probably bullshit. I don't see one person staying around. It sounds like fucking, whatever. All right. So the worker held a B1 visa for a 2-month work meetings and training trip. They were body searched while wearing hard hat and safety boots at 10 a.m. on September 4th. ICE gave arrest warrant forms at 1:20 p.m. with no explanation and no Miranda rights were read. Yeah, so again, Gestapo tactics. They just fucking brown shirts, just fucking raiding places for no reason. Yeah. All right, so the workers thought that completing the forms would lead to release. The worker wrote, lol. which was shared with Yonhap News. Red wristbands were placed on workers after they submitted forms. They secretly messaged his family saying contact might be cut off. So already you could see that they chain ganged. They basically made them into a chain gang. And yeah, this is something you usually see with, MS-13 and Mexican cartel gang, fucking gang members and whatever. But you don't really see them with Korean workers trying to give barbarian Georgians, some battery technology because they're retarded. And they can't make themselves because they don't know any math and they are just fucking retarded people in Georgia. So yeah, so they're just treated as chain gang workers, even though they're vastly superior in intellect to the average locale. But yeah, this is a good way to gain South Korean people into your graces by being fucking retards. Okay, so workers were handcuffed with cable ties, and some were chained at the waist, legs, and wrists. Transport vehicles had toilets inside with a strong urine odor. There was no air conditioning provided during the journey to the detention facility. So already you can see that this was not only just humiliating, but it was actually like they treated them like actual criminals. Like, not to say that criminals should be treated like this in general. I mean, that sounds disgusting and terrible and probably should be reformed in some way. But that's how we treat criminals, and that's apparently how we treat Korean nationals who try to help us build technology that we're too barbarian to understand. So that's what happened. Workers were initially housed in a 72-person room with bunks, 4 shared toilets, and 2 urinals. There were no clocks or outside view. Mattresses had mold on them. They provided water and smelled bad. No basic supplies were initially provided to the detainees. So yeah, this sounds like worse than prisoners of war in the Korean War conditions, where, obviously Chinese, well, not for the Americans. The Americans tortured and killed Korean prisoners. The American prisoners were treated fairly well, though. Probably around this for the 1950s, this probably would have been the same kind of stuff. So I'm sure I'm glad to know that America decides to treat them with 1950s hospitality. It was cold, so cold that some detainees heated towels in the microwave to warm themselves. The worker secretly obtained a pen and paper on day 4 to begin writing his detention diary. The formal intake process was only completed on day 4. So yeah, more prisoner shit. That's cool. During their September ICE interview, officers asked if they were from South Korea. So this is how retarded ICE people are. They don't even know that they think that there would be North Koreans at a Hyundai facility. How fucking retarded are these people? Like, this is like the bottom of the barrel. That's why I call them the fucking Nazi SA. Because clearly they're not intelligent. They're just fucking retards. This is the average ICE officer. They're just fucking anti-Asian Nazi pieces of shit. Let's see. When they asked why they were arrested despite having legal B1 entry, the ICE officer replied, "I don't know either, but the people above us think it's illegal." Some ICE officers admitted to other detainees that ICE had made mistakes, according to the diary. Yeah, sounds a lot like I was just following orders, right? Well, they are fucking retarded, so I guess it is a fair defense. So on September 7th, 4 officials from the Korean Consulate General and Foreign Ministry met the detainees. The consulate reportedly told workers, "Getting home first is the most important thing. Sign whatever they asked you to sign unconditionally." So here we see what's going on. We're seeing, oh shit, we need some damage control. Oh no, this is terrible. Just sign whatever they want. Let's get home. And let's just get the fuck out of here. Korean officials warned that disputes could mean detention from anything from 4 months to several years. They informed detainees that signing would mean forced removal, visa cancellation, and a charter flight home. More ministry officials visited on September 8th. So you see the fucking Jap-loving Korean officials telling them the detainees need to just fucking shut the fuck up and go home because they're pieces of shit and they're clown cocksucking faggots. Oh, whoops. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. I guess I'm gonna be removed from YouTube. We're gonna we're gonna fix that in post, everyone. But yeah, we can see that that's what's going on, and yeah. So in 10, the Korean officials warn, blah blah blah. Let's see. Yeah, so they're basically just trying to cover up the situation for their masters back at home because, they have been cocksucking that for a long time. And so the worker wrote, I was very angry that they seemed unable to understand why B1 visa entry was considered illegal and was frustrated their focus on sending us out. Workers were told to sign voluntary departure documents filled with language about being illegal. Yeah, so here we see it's just kind of like the workers were like, what the fuck are you talking about? You guys are, cocksucking that, and you're telling us to also be cocksucking at that, and we're not going to do that, so you can go fuck yourselves. Release came on September 11th when buses departed for Atlanta Airport, leaving what Yonhap described as a hell-like detention facility. Now, you see how it came on September 11th, and now how do we know that that's all fucking related? Well, that was a day after the Kirk thing, so the officials were like, oh shit, this is our chance to just make this all go away and nobody will ever talk about it again. So the Korean officials and the American officials were like, oh shit, yeah, get them out of here. Go, 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 go. It's just kind of like so obvious what they were trying to do the entire time. And, oh, God. Like, this is so embarrassing for the American government. Like, I'm talking about if I were team neoliberal, if I was team capitalism, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, this is like, cause I was reading this other conservative Korean American, and he kind of made some good points about how South Korea, for the longest time, or since the 1990s, right? So let's back up a little bit. Since the 1990s, David Tay. That's right, David Tay. I said what I said. All right, I usually don't use that slur, to be honest. I'm sorry if anyone was offended. I genuinely apologize. I actually don't use that slur, to be honest. I usually use gay. I think gay is more like the legit. But, I am somewhat like incensed at these South Korean cocksucking, and, they have been cocksucking since the 1960s, when Park Chung-gi got on his hands and knees and cocksucked the Japanese for money. So, I'm kind of like, whatever. You know what? Apparently, we're about free speech in this country, are we not? Are we not? Where's the free speech? Am I gonna get Charlie Kirk for that, David Tay? But anyway, going back to the main issue here. I was reading this guy. Let me just fucking put my stuff back. I was reading this guy. I was reading about this guy. He was a Korean American, and he is conservative, but he was talking about this event and how he was kind of going like, "Are you guys fucking stupid? Are you guys retarded?" What's good, Paul? What's up? But he was saying like for since the 1990s, so after the Cold War, right? After the Cold War ends, there's significant changes for both South Korea and North Korea. North Korea obviously gets kicked to the curb, and a lot of shit happens. But South Korea, almost like the opposite happens, where now they, after getting rid of Chunda-1 in the 80s, in like 88 or whatever, and going through some sort of transitionary phase, they have somewhat of like a limited democracy going on for the first time in the 1990s, right? And so they're kind of like, hey, you know what? We're fine. We're fine with Russia now. We can trade with Russia. We can trade with China. Even the Americans are trading with China now. So let's trade with China. Let's trade with everyone. We can get a lot of, stuff going on. And then the IMF crisis happened in 1997, kind of like makes them a little bit more reliant on Western investment. Well, not reliant, but they were forced to open to Western investment in 1997. All that shit engineered by the anti-Asian Nazi George Soros, right? And so afterwards, they became more and more, or they became dependent on, I guess, or Western, I guess, entities start to make more and more decision on the corporate angle for South Korea. It wasn't just the chaebols that had full control. Now they had to answer to Western shareholders, right? And so because of that, there was like kind of like a weird sort of relationship where, there is cheap labor in China, but now they gotta, kind of follow some of the dictates of Western, corporations or Western power, Western control. And so there was a little bit of the seesaw effect that was going on the past 20, 25, 30 years, where, it's like, wait, but we can take advantage of cheap labor in China, but now we have to follow some of these restrictions because we don't want to help China that much. And it's just like, wait, how much are we helping China? How would, it became this kind of like weird sort of like tug of war between America and China on the economic front. And finally, I guess like in the past, pretty much since the fucking Moon Jae-in era, or I guess like the Trump era, that's when like America started to become a lot more aggressive in its demands and being like, nah, you need to be like fucking, we need to be attached at the fucking hip now. Not just militarily, because we got that on lock, but we need your fucking economics because, well, our fucking economics suck ass and suck balls because we gave it all to China. So we need to fucking reverse some of that, bring some of that manufacturing back here, I guess. And in order to do that, you need to fucking partner with us. You can't just, and you need to stop, some of the, you need to, whenever we tariff China, you need to fucking follow along, or you need to, do all these fucking sanctions whenever we do them, whatever it is, whatever the case may be, we need to be more aligned than not. And so South Korea was like, you know what? Yeah, I guess like we do rely on them for our military protection and all this other stuff. So maybe it's best to like, keep it all streamlined in one place. And, so they started to like cut ties with China in terms of economics. Like they started to, find American suppliers, I guess, or whatever, blah, 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 or, follow a lot of the dictates and lower their trade volume with China, which was pretty significant. I think their total 36% of their exports, I think, go to China. So China is a huge market for them regardless. And so, and not only that, they're just like right next door. So getting supplies and materials and whatever back and forth, it's just so much more efficient and cheaper and faster. It just like doesn't even make sense. Like if there were no like military kind of like, considerations, it wouldn't make sense for Korea to side with America at all. Because now it's like, what does America have technology-wise that China doesn't? Now it has nothing. Like China's now developed its microchips and whatever, almost to the level of Nvidia. And America already has Nvidia, or Nvidia is American, right? And so, TSMC might be Taiwanese, but that's effectively American too. So like, wait a second, is it? Oh, I think it might be because I didn't set it to live chat. Let's see. What'd you guys say? Let me just finish what I was saying, then I'll check chat. But basically, basically, it's just kind of like now with this event, it's just kind of like, wait, did we, that Korean American conservative guy was like, wait a second, did we make a mistake here? Like, and I kind of tweeted something like, hey, maybe being actively racist to the country you're trying to court for economic cooperation is not the smartest idea if the choice for that country is specifically you or a country that looks like, the people look like them and they've had cultural fucking mixing for the past 2,000, 3,000 years for, maybe don't make that decision easier to switch, like, are you guys retarded? And the answer is yes. The American government is full of retards, and they employ retards to run ICE, clearly. And so, yeah. Hopefully, I didn't get you in too much trouble, David Tay. I'm sorry if I got you in trouble. That's the only thing I'm kind of like worried about. But yeah. Let's see. Live chat. Okay. Satan season. Arthur Quan Lee looking at this like, what the F? We're your actual greatest ally. Yeah, can you imagine Arthur Quan Lee right now being like, wait a second. Koreans are your greatest ally. Arthur Quan Lee is the biggest fucking retard. Yeah, China too. China's probably saying, yeah, Koreans, you fucking fell for it, award-winning pieces of shit retards. The SA was known for being apes. Exactly, Roman. Wait, are you Roman from ACP? But yes, SA were definitely known for being apes. ICE agents are like, oh yeah, what kind of Korean are you? I mean, like, it's like, what are you... Are we in the 1980s? Like, I didn't get that question until since I was in the 1980s. Like, how fucking... Like, where did they recruit these fucking hicks from? Fucking East Korean high school bottom... East Korean, yeah, exactly. I actually joked that by the time, like when the craziness of... when the craziness of that Yoon Suk Yeol shit was going on, I was like... There could be 3 Koreas at the end of this shit. Like, there's going to be Southwest Korea and Southeast Korea. Or maybe there's going to be South Korea and then Mid Korea and then North Korea. I was like, what is going on here? It just feels like, you can't listen to Doug on speakers around your Japanese wife. Yeah, it's probably a smart idea. It's not a very Jap-friendly channel on this channel. Not gonna lie, unless they begin apologizing for their war crimes, this is not gonna be a Jap-friendly channel. That is the line. If you're not gonna apologize, then I see no reason not to call you Japs. Right? Right. Okay. So then, I'm hearing this on speaker, and my friends were like, "What did your friend just say?" Your friend says cocksucker. Wait. They were more angry about cocksucker than the F slur. Whatever. I mean, that's like cocksucker is so like in rap lexicon. Like, how could you not have that in your lexicon if you're like, listening to? And it's the F word is like huge in hip hop. It's just kind of like it just feels. It's just rhythmic. Like cocksucker. Sorry. That was me in the 1990s and 2000s, listening to a lot of gangster rap and just fucking emulating shit. Whatever. I'm sorry. I'm a boomer. I was born way before wokenomics ever fucking happened. All right. I still stand by gay and retarded as being acceptable, though. Gay and retarded, those are standards. We will always. That's the line. Gay and retarded. F word, maybe don't cross that. Okay, I'm sorry again. All right. Trump low-key speed running Korean third worldism with this one. Yeah. My mom has been angry as hell since this happened. Yeah, I mean, like, no one really understands what's going on. Like, you know, I know a lot of people who are very pro, like, South Korea and, like, anti-North Korea, but even they're like, what the fuck? You know? They're just like, from what I've been keeping up, Korea has been less strong-armed in the U.S., agreeing to the $350 billion multi-year, and now with this. Yeah, it's like you strong-armed Korea, and then now you do this. It's like, wait, what the fuck? Yeah. We're not really about free speech. Off the entire Korea populace. It's like almost like a get out of jail free. Exactly. This is like, Lee Jae-myung is like, oh shit. Yeah. Yeah, you dumb fucks. Now I can fucking go with China again. And those fucking, like, you know, CIA Carly Chirk protesters in South Korea, I'm like, oh my god, this is just pathetic. It's just pathetic. You guys lost, all right? You got that Charlie Kirk shit is not gonna fly when the fucking Hyundai shit happened. Like no amount of Charlie Kirk worshiping is gonna save your fucking asses this time. You fucking dumb fuck CIA scum, you know, Korean protest. You guys are all fucking Korean. You guys are all fucking flown in from, like, you know, fucking Fullerton or Buena Park. All you fucking LARPing Koreans. Yeah, you're all fucking LARPs and just fucking flying over Seoul to protest for Charlie Kirk. You fucking pieces of shit. I know exactly what you are. You guys all got fucking paid to fucking hold up that shit. Dumb fucks. Yeah, all that does not matter in South Korea anymore. This fucking Hyundai shit matters like 1,000 billion times more, you dumb fucking idiots. Yeah. Free speech ends at Charlie Kirk, right? Heavens are quite literally handing Xi the 21st century. Yeah, Xi is the plan, the CIA uncovered plan of 10 years ago, when the plan was just to sit back and watch America collapse. That's a very good plan. The plan is happening. Paul, what's good, everyone? Oh, okay. Korean government be like, well, none of our workers are willing to actually travel over and execute on the deals and building the factories. Yeah, no dice. Yeah, it's just kind of like, well, our workers don't want to go to y'all's places, so we can't really fulfill this $350 billion deal because, yeah, the only way they would agree is if fucking Trump apologized on ICE's behalf. Like, I don't think, like, see, this is what I'm talking about, anti-Asian racism. They think that all Asians are the same, right? Like, they're deferential and blah blah blah, whatever. And you might get that from, like, the Japs, right? They're like, oh, gomenasai, oh, arigato gozaimasu, you know, like, you know, like, oh, ichi ni san shi go roku, you know. You might get, like, Japs who are gonna be like, oh yes, sorry, it was actually our mistake. Kure, I like how I added a Korean word at the end of there because that's the Jap collaborator. But then, you know, you got your Hong Kong cucks, your Taiwanese cucks. They were like, oh yeah, these Asians are just like cucks like the rest of them, right? No. See, Koreans and Vietnamese Asians, yeah, we don't take shit from no one. That's why we started the fucking Korean-Vietnamese wars. They weren't called the Chinese wars. They were called the Korean and Vietnam wars. because we were like, you know what? Fuck this shit, America. We gotta fucking fight. Um, and they didn't realize that, and they were like, oh yeah, these Koreans, they're just gonna do whatever we want, and it's like, no, not when it involves their pride, not when it involves their honor. You know, the one thing Koreans never, all Koreans, both North and South, you do not disrespect them. You do not ever disrespect them. Like, we all, like especially now, especially after the Hallyu wave, especially after North Korea, both Koreas have been fucking vindicated, you know, in the past 30 years. Like, DPRK has been vindicated because it had the correct position on every single fucking policy foreign policy decision America made. It's just been right about everything the entire time about America. And now people are seeing that, right? We're slowly seeing that. And South Korea, yeah. We just fucking, yeah, we had a fascist dictatorship. But we actually did produce a fucking economy that, you know, was built from fucking scratch, from fucking nothing. And so, you know, both Koreas are like, yeah, we're gonna fucking get our respect, you dumb fucks. This ain't, you know, 100 years ago. This ain't 200 years ago. When we were everyone's bitch. Now we're fucking running the show. We're not gonna take shit from you, you dumb fucks. Yeah, so you might get little bitches from Taiwan or Hong Kong or Japan, or, you know, like, even the Philippines. Like, you wouldn't like, not that they have information transfer to offer America, but you wouldn't piss off the Amboys, that's for sure. They got to make that fat white bitch apologize for snitching as part of the deal. Like, yeah, well, I think that they're probably going to arrest the fat bitch. that's what they would need to do for being retarded. Korea government be like, well, none of our... Oh, yeah, I read that. Fat white is censored on YouTube. Oh, obese white. America has OnlyFans, and that's something Chinese commies will never have. Yep. And a good thing, I guess. Actually, I do hear that Chinese people can access pornography through Twitter. A lot of them actually access pornography through Twitter, funnily enough. That's what I heard. Ahem, OnlyFans may be dangerous to Americans. America's friend is fatal. Oh, wait, I get it. You said what you said. America's a Jew country, technically. Not really. It's an Anglo-Jew country. South Korea is surrounded by American military. Do they really have a choice, though? Well, it's not that they have a choice. It's just the workers aren't going to go there. So, like, what is South Korea going to do? The what kind of Korean are you is a reference to Civil War. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that. Work in immigration. I'm not related to other Romans. First time live here. Been following you X for a bit. Yo, okay, Roman. Thanks for following and thanks for watching. We need more SARs to check in. Oh wait, I'm the SAR, I guess. We need more Jeets to check in. You think star people planted the trans girl? Well, I think the whole thing is like planted and fake. So, is that weirdo who was spamming? I don't think that was the spammer. Spammer was named something like some like evil shit or whatever. Shit is too obvious. Sup D Wallace. Ed Choi falling for the color revolution in Nepal like clockwork. That guy's never seen a Ned regime change op he didn't like. Yeah, I mean, I don't really follow him for actual politics. No offense, Ed, if you're watching this, but yeah, you're kind of out of your depth when it comes to international relations. Like, completely. And, you know, whatever. It's fine. Not gonna hold it against you. It's just whatever. That's right, Doug. I don't know what I was right about. It's something earlier, I guess. This was definitely long for planned regime change op to send a message to China and India. Oh, you're talking about Nepal. I actually haven't been following the Nepal stuff too closely. I just see that it's a clown show. There's a lot of clown shit going on. Oh, we got that rage. Chinese too are proud of AF these days. K rage. Have they not learned from Johnny Somali, Japan versus Korea? Sorry, bro. As Viet American that has extensively lived in Vietnam, they are all as white. Facts. I think that was only because of the Clinton administration opening up to Vietnam in the 1990s, and so they see a lot of that, I guess, American influence as being positive. But yeah, you get more of those people. You know, you get more of those sexpats coming to Vietnam. You know, those ex Vietnam war vets that are coming back to Vietnam to just take advantage of the country. I think you're going to see some of those attitudes change a little bit, especially when you see Israeli tourists just being ridiculous to the people there. So, yes, obviously there is a fair amount of white worshipping that goes around Vietnam right now, but they have. I mean, look up. There was an incident. I think it was either Sacramento or something in the 1990s, where some Vietnamese people who came after the fall of Saigon were not very happy about the conditions that they were living in. And an incident happened in the 1990s that you should definitely check out. So, yeah. Viets are not the most peaceful people, but that's based, I think. D. Wallace, I'm going to be frank, Chinese pride is annoying to me. I think some pride is annoying. Definitely the ultras are stupid and imbecilic, just like the Taiwanese Trotskyite. He's kind of like an ultra as well. They're just kind of like chauvinist, like idiots. Yeah. But on this channel, we practice Pan-Asian unity. We do not practice, you know, anti-Asian, intra-Asian violence, except for Japanese and Taiwan. Those are the only two we banish. Everything else is fine, but Japan and Taiwan, yeah, no. We can ridicule them as much as we want because, lol. I don't know. I don't like when they claim everything Korean is Chinese. Yeah, that's kind of stupid. Chinese Americans are not nearly proud of their heritage enough. I'll give you that. Well, yeah. So Chinese people are proud, maybe a little overly proud, especially the ultras. But the Chinese Americans are kind of cucked. But yes, still clown ass. Boomer tykes trying to push only speak English. What an idiot, because they can't speak English themselves. Pan-Asian unity minus the Japanese. Exactly, Paul Kim. Pan-Asian unity minus the Japanese. Obviously, Japanese Americans or Japanese diaspora who aren't, you know, pieces of shit, welcome, right? But as far as the actual country, no, we do not. They're like so far gone. They're done. They're just like, they are the true cocksuckers of America. Like their entire country. I don't know if you guys know this, but I was reading Permanent Record by Edward Snowden, and in it he says that basically when he was working for the NSA, he found out that the entire infrastructure of Japan has a kill switch that the NSA can just be like, oh, you guys aren't doing what we want? Your entire country doesn't work anymore. Who the hell is Jesus Jesus? Well, unless you identify yourself soon, I'm going to probably ban you because I think you're probably a troll that needs to be banned. So, go ahead and do that unless you want to get the fuck out. Chinese are not ashamed of what they are, which is apparently jarring to Chinese Americans. Dang, that's wild, that kill switch. All right. You asked for it, I guess. Bye-bye. It's like, you don't think I'm gonna do it? Yeah, it's like, oh, you're gonna, it's just remove me, remove me. It's like, all right, get the fuck out. Dumb fuck. I just hate people who think they're gonna be like troll me, and I'm like, all right. Like, do you know, do you not know what this is now? Oh shit, I'm getting like 28 followers on YouTube right now. This is like world record. There's like a fucking world record going on. I guess like my title, I haven't delivered on my title, so maybe my provocative title is getting a lot of people coming in here. But I guess I can start talking about that now. Um, yeah. So if you guys haven't seen my Twitter activity for the past couple of days, I'm kind of like noticing something about Mr. Nick Fuentes. I mean, I've been watching Nick Fuentes, and I've been keeping tabs on the Gropers. I actually have a mutuals with some of the Gropers. I don't know how high up they are or anything like that, but I don't really know much about their command structure. But I feel like I can tease out some of how they work based on my observations. Um, um, but basically, what I understand about the Groypers is that they are coordinated in some way, and they are, obviously they are internet savvy. They're mostly from the 4chan networks, which was revealed to be, Mossad, fucking recruiting place or whatever. So I'm sure that a lot of these Groypers are actually also like, they're pretty much like pro imperialism, but they know how to make it seem like they're not. They're opportunists, right? Um, and because I've been studying the Nazis for the past 3 years, 2 years. Yeah, I'd say 2 years. Since 2023, I've been studying the Nazis. I read. I mean, right, right, right. I've read almost the entire canon of German philosophy. I've read biographies on Hitler, Goebbels, Himmler. You know, um, I've read about their government structure, how they were financed, their involvement with the CIA and the MI6 before that. I'm still reading. That's the thing. I'm not even like done with my research, but because of my research and kind of like really, I mean the reason for my extensive research on the Nazis is that my thesis has been for the past 4 or 5 years that Asian Americans are the neo-Jews of American capitalist Nazism. Assuming that America will have the character of German Nazism or some sort of character, the minority group that most represented, Nazism's like ire was the Jews, obviously in Germany, and the same exact arguments that the Nazis used against the Jews are basically the same exact arguments that America uses for Asian Americans or Chinese people in general. And so, even just, I've been researching the history of anti-Semitism from Voltaire to Wagner. This is volume 3. I didn't get the first two volumes because I think those probably not as helpful to. So this like starts basically in the 1700s on, and I think that's probably all I need for the research project that I'm doing. But in any case, I found that, like, yeah, everything that, they were saying in the 1700s and 1800s about the Jews, they basically say about Asian Americans. Like, the whole thing about, like, how Asians aren't creative and, they need the white person to do the creative things. They said that Voltaire said the same exact shit in the 1700s about Jews. They said, "Oh yeah, they might be smart. They might be calculating. They might be, able to do things really like efficiently. But all they do is copy. All they do is copy our original ideas. And so all they're doing is just, you know, they might be fast and do things more efficient and whatever, but really we came up with the original ideas, you know? So this was the shit Voltaire was saying. Voltaire was like one of the fucking, like he was like a philosopher for the aristocracy, and that's why Schopenhauer was kind of like that as well. And you can kind of see that basically in the 17 and 1800s, while capitalism was developing really quickly during the industrial revolution, you can kind of see a split between philosophers in like some who were more as aristocratic leaning or status leaning, like Voltaire, and those who were interested more in like the masses and what the masses wanted, like Rousseau. But anyway, yeah, so that's why I've been researching the Nazis for the past 3 years. And essentially, what I've noticed with Nick Fuentes is that, yes, he talks about Hitler and admiring Hitler or whatever, and people kind of like only concentrate on the anti-Semitic part of him, like being a fan of Hitler. They don't quite understand the other things about Hitler that Nick Fuentes is gravitating towards. And when you really read, Will to Power, you really read Schopenhauer, you really read, Wagner's views or whatever about the Jews and all this shit, you're like, oh shit, this is what he's actually doing. Okay, so then let me read you, actually, yeah, let me just, let me just go in this thing. So this is what I wrote in May 31st. So this is like a couple months ago, but this is like when I'm just analyzing Nick Fuentes. This is like kind of what I've noticed. All right. So Nick Fuentes, in my opinion, like Hitler, wants to present himself as an anti-establishment figure against the system, right? So Hitler in the 1920s, he was kind of like a nobody. Nobody really knew who he was. It was really only until like the beer hall putsch where people were like, "Oh, wait, who is this guy?" or whatever. And that was in 1923. So the story of Hitler was that he fought in World War One. Obviously, he gets hit by a mustard gas incident in 1918, a month before the war ends, and then he wakes up in the hospital and finds that Germany lost, and he's very angry and blah blah blah. And so one of his first assignments after the war was he was still working for the army, but he was assigned to spy on some, like, I guess, right-wing groups to make sure nobody did anything terrible or anything like that. But instead of spying, he kind of got drawn into one of these groups called the the German Workers' Party, the DAP, and quickly rose through the ranks when people were like, "Oh, this is like a guy who can, get people behind him. This is a guy who can speak well. He captures what the German, what the average German person who was angry at the outcome of the war, the nationalist German, was angry about. He captured that, I guess, je ne sais quoi in the way that he spoke, in the way, like, he was very relatable to that group of people. So the DAP before Hitler, they were kind of just like bumbling around. They didn't really know what they were doing. And they didn't really have anyone as charismatic as Hitler. As crazy as that might sound, they were they were like the first incels. They were the first Gropers. They were Gropers without a Nick Fuentes. And so when Hitler arrives, he's kind of like that. He's kind of like the Nick Fuentes that they were all kind of like, oh shit, this is our guy. This is the guy that can kind of articulate very intelligently what we're kind of incensed about. And if we rally around this guy, we're going to gain power, or we're going to get recognition, or our grievances will be heard at least, right? Like they didn't know that, the MI6 and American corporations and British corporations would fund the Nazis later on and make them into this whatever. But at the time, when they were first starting out, they were just kind of like, hey, we're going to, get heard, right? Our voice is just going to get heard. Because, like, at the time, they were nobodies as well. The Tool Society or whatever, they were kind of just, like, very outskirts weirdos who believed in these weird mythology stuff in Hyperborea. Heinrich Himmler was one of the first people in the Tool Society, and he kind of, like, believed in all this crazy shit. Along with, I think, Alfred Rosenberg. But yeah, they were just like, they were kind of just weirdos actually. Before Hitler came around. As crazy as it sounds, Hitler was like the legitimizing person of the workers. So right away, he kind of shows his graphic design skills. I guess he designs a swastika. He designs it purposely to mimic the kind of communism by putting that red in the flag. And so he almost immediately, you can see that he's being perfidious, right? He chooses red and he calls themselves the Nationalist Socialist Party in the beginning. He does the rebrand. He does a reach. Once he becomes like kind of like the leader of the party, he does this total rebrand, calls it the Nationalist Socialist German Workers' Party. And he says in Mein Kampf that it was a troll on purpose to attract random people, because like again, this party was very small in the beginning, so they wanted to try to troll people to get in there. And when you sorry, I'll be reading it soon. I'll be going through I'm going through it one by one, Paul. So when you look at Nick Fuentes, he like almost follows the same exact playbook, right? It's just kind of like, hey, I'm saying the things that all you guys think, right? Like, blah blah blah. And that's kind of like how he got his Groper army, like in the 5, 6, 10, for the past like 6, 7, 8 years. I'm sure he's just been building this Groper army or whatever. And they've kind of like been with him thick and through, and they see him as their Hitler, right? Like, I'm sure there's a lot of weird ass Heinrich Himmlers in that Groper group that kind of like, yeah, this is our guy. He's so, Nick, he's our savior, right? He's the one that's going to get into the system and have our grievances be heard, right? Okay, so then let me go down this a little bit. So, except his cloud tracing portrays his true intent, because why would someone who's trying to overthrow a system need establishment media to spread his message? He already has enough reach to disseminate it to anyone actually looking for far-right extremism and neo-Nazism. So that's the other thing, too. With Hitler as well, it was like, he says that he's anti-establishment, but after he is arrested, so he does the beer hall putsch because he sees the March on Rome in 1922. He sees Mussolini doing the March on Rome, and he's like, hey, Mussolini got it done, we can get it done too. And so like let's plan for this putsch. And he tries to get enough like politicians on his side, but they end up like kind of like balking and not following through at the last moment, and Hitler's kind of caught with his balls in his hands, or his dick in his hands, and he's arrested, right? but he manages to get off with an extremely light sentence for treason. If I think like basically he has like sympathizers who are high up, you know, aristocratic sympathizers who are high up. And so Hitler kind of like understands this and is like, all right, maybe I need to change the strategy here. And so Hitler kind of changes that strategy to be like, we're gonna do it through the democratic system. We're gonna play by their rules, but we're not exactly gonna play fair. We're gonna look like we're playing by their rules, but we're not exactly gonna play fair. So by 1925, that's why he writes Mein Kampf, to be like the unified, like that's his kind of like, you know, Marx had capital, Lenin had imperialism. This is kind of like Hitler's like attempt to be like, hey, this is the thing that I'm writing about to establish my political kind of like career. And so he writes Mein Kampf. It comes out in 1925, and it starts to get some recognition. Not at first, really. He's still trying to like build back up after the failure of 23. But it is kind of like this unifying text that people are now trying to rally around, right? And so, so you have this unifying text that people are rallying around, right? So and then, and so years later, you know, they're building their army, and then in 1929, that's when the Great Depression happens, and so Hitler has been talking about, you know, the Jews and the, you know, the capitalism and like blah 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 and their blah, and so he's starting to look like a prophet here when he was like, look, the French and British, they're making us pay forever. We're never gonna fucking get out of this debt. We should get back our fucking Rhineland. We should stop these reparations, whatever. And you know, we're like going to always be stuck in this fucking, you know, fucking backward search. And so yeah, you can just do from : I am Douglas Kim, and you know, type a few words out. You'll find it in a second. Do you not know how to? God, how boomer are you? Anyway, and just wait for the story to happen. I'm reading it real time. I'm telling the fucking story as I'm telling the fucking. I'm going bit by bit. All right, so then this is because, like Hitler again, his true intent isn't to overthrow the state for his Gropers or even for the potential masses he wants to reach, but for his own self-aggrandizement, as he doesn't actually believe that his ideals have any chance of materializing. And so this is kind of like where it does seem like it splits off from Hitler here. But at the time, I don't think like Hitler and this was like maybe they I don't think even in the beginning they anticipated how successful they were going to be. I think after every success, they started to rewrite the narrative like they knew, like they were the people of destiny, like they knew all the entire time that the Nazis were going to, you know, come to power. But I think even in the early stages, they were kind of on the ropes. The Great Depression really gave them the boost of like, oh, Hitler's a prophet. Like everyone was like, Hitler's a prophet after 29, because they, you know, because what happened was, you know, they were starting to come out of the Great Depression a little bit in the 20s, and you know they were still paying back France, right? But the 1929 Great Depression was another kick in the teeth, and things went back to being disastrous almost immediately in Germany. And, you know, like they had a lot of hyperinflation during the 1920s already. And so, yeah, they were like, oh shit, we got fucked again. And so Hitler becomes a lot more popular after 1929. Now for this, for Nick, I think it's kind of the same thing. I don't know if like he thinks he's going to be he thought he was going to be successful, because I think like, yeah, all along he just wanted to be part of the team. He just wanted recognition. He just wanted his own brand to be elevated, right? Fuck principles, right? He just cares about himself. And Hitler was kind of like the same way as well. They say Hitler, forewent to salary and all this other shit, but that was all fucking bullshit because Hitler, when he became the Fuhrer, he collected all the most expensive artwork in Europe and had it delivered to him. He's not only that, he spent like a shit ton of money like building his estate all the way out in fucking random town away from Berlin. And yeah, it was just kind of like everyone's trying to say the same thing about like Nick and how principled he is and all this other shit. It's like, no, this is all fucking bullshit. Like, I know how you guys are they're just trying to follow the Hitler playbook step by step here. All right, because like, I guess like I thought like politically he might not make it, but this next paragraph, look at his strategy, promoting himself. As many of you may not know, but there were women or middle-class women overwhelmingly voted for the Nazi Party in the 1930s. So they actually, it's funny how feminists are like, oh, fascism, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, if you actually look at the history, women voted for fascism. So, but obviously things are different today. So I think now I'm starting to see the Nick Fuentes game plan a little bit better here. And it involves taking over Charlie Kirk's audience at this point, right? So maybe I spoke too soon. I didn't know that this craziness was going to happen, but now that I see it, that's how I think it's going to work. And then on the other side of the equation, Hitler was backed by global finance capital, whereas Fuentes' primary opponents, ostensibly the Jews, would never actually let him ascend unless they thought it was useful to bolster their anti-Zionist or anti-Semitic rhetoric. So here's where it gets interesting, right? Here's where it gets very interesting, right? Because Hitler, as we know, was funded not only by England, but America. I don't know if you guys know about Himmler and Friends, or the SS Himmler and Friends, but you had corporations all over America being like, you know what? You had Standard Oil, right, giving the Nazis this synthetic oil formula. Basically, it was a way for you to transform coal into oil synthetically. This was very important, by the way, for World War II. By World War II, most things were being powered by oil rather than coal, which was the primary source of energy back in World War I. But by World War II, oil was becoming the new standard, and Standard Oil was the one kind of giving them proprietary information in order to fuel their war machine. Anyway, the second thing is that, Chase Bank, for example, they were helping finance the Nazis by selling German war bonds to German Americans in America. You had, I think, well, you already had the German companies being kind of like helped out a little bit, like IG Farben, these chemical places that produced Zyklon B, the infamous gas that was used to kill people in the Holocaust. And so you generally had a lot of American corporate interests, including one Henry Ford, who wrote The International Jew in the 1910s. And this was actually a huge, huge influence on Mein Kampf. Hitler kind of takes a lot of Ford's ideas and puts them in his little treatise on politics. So, we can see that antagonizing, quote-unquote, the Jews, especially at this point, because back when Hitler was in power, the Jews actually, yes, they had some banking power and control, but that has increased many times over in the modern day in terms of magnitude. And so, you know, because of that, Israel and the Jews, like obviously, or the Jewish Zionists or whatever, just have a lot more control over Western finances in general. And so we can see that this opportunistic turn was always going to happen. This was inevitable. Like, Nick Fuentes was going to become pro-Zionist at some point in his career. I didn't know when it was going to be. Well, I didn't know that he would make this turn. You know, I thought he was, you know, quote unquote based, as the Gropers tell me. I thought he was too based to sell out the one principle, the one uniting principle of the Groper army. He sold out for. And I'm sure the Gropers are going to tell me, no, man, it's strategy. See, once he gets into office, once he has power, he's going to stop the Jews. That's the long-term strategy. Like, fucking retards. You dumb fuck. You guys are like they are the most, like, it's funny because Gropers think they are not fall for it again award winners, but this is like gonna be the biggest fucking rug pull you have ever seen. Once Nick gets into a seat of actual fucking power, it's just Nick. It's just gonna be, yeah, whatever. He's gonna say all the shit he's been saying that don't involve Israel. He's gonna say all the shit he has been saying, except when it comes to Israel. Except when it comes to the Jews that, you know, apparently communists are too scared to name, right? And so we can kind of see what's going on here. So I ended by saying Fuentes is nothing more than a con man who uses his followers for their money and support purely as a voice to vent their grievances in a mass public forum, which is why for Zionists, he's actually a perfect controlled op. Whether he realizes it or not, because he does bolster that Zionists equal Jews rhetoric, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, he is actually a literal perfect counter-propagandist for Zionist interests, right? And so let's see what else I've been kind of like saying. And so I want to talk about the title right now a little bit, actually. Actually, can you guys hear it if I
gunmen that killed him?
Can you guys hear that?
They hated.
Could you guys hear that? Okay. Yeah, let's play this for a little bit. I don't know if you guys seen this, but we can see the fucking turn. It's so fucking obvious. Like, look at this shit. And not only that, apparently the Gropers all teamed up to get this account suspended. This was some Ernst Rome shit. They just fucking took out one of their own because they were like, we need to get this video off the fucking internet. They just took out one of their, like, Ernst Rome. They took him out in the back. They gave him a pistol to shoot himself. I think Rome told him, no, you're going to have to kill me. You're going to have to kill me yourself, Hitler. I'm sure. Yeah, Nick Fuentes didn't even have the balls to kill him himself. He had to get his Groper army to, like, get him, you know, suspended, right? So just like Hitler, he Ernst Rome one of his guys, but this is the video he sent.
We had our disagreements. Where we did agree is that he would go to these college campuses and proclaim the name of Jesus Christ. And ultimately, that is why he was killed. The gunmen that killed him, they hated him because of his defense of Christian morality. Charlie Kirk cannot call himself a Christian anymore. Sorry, you forfeited that. I do not want to hear, and you cannot allow Charlie Kirk to go to one more public event, one more question and answer, one more ask me anything without being protested, without being shouted down, without being interrogated about this. This guy goes around from campus to campus in the most artificial and phony and fake way, talking about, oh, God made me very blessed that I control $500 million. Oh, I'm so blessed. I'm so rich and I'm so blessed. And oh, God's been so good to me. I'm such a Christian. Oh, the Lord gave me the Sabbath. I take Saturday off. You sit there and call yourself a Christian and then you make excuses for the genocide of 2 million people? Seriously? You stand there and purport to be an evangelist like Billy Graham? Oh, you're the latest Billy Graham? You're our generation's America's pastor? Why? Because you said the right words? Because you said, God bless, God bless. God bless, my friend. Oh, I rebuke the devil in the name of Jesus. And then you go around from campus to campus making excuses for a famine?
So yeah, here we see a month, literally less than a fucking month ago, Nick Fuentes critiquing Charlie Kirk for not talking about Israel. For basically, he's saying, Charlie Kirk, you're not an actual Christian because you're a hypocrite because you're not calling out Israel. And then just a couple, just the assassination later, fucking 180. He says, oh, he was a brother in Christ. It's like, it's so fucking obvious how fake you are. Like, to everyone in the fucking world. This is just like fucking so obvious. And this is like that's why I'm like, this was basically and I have to thank Tian, I don't know how to say her handle, but she goes by Sweet Summer Shunu, I think, on Twitter. And she called it out. She was like, "Oh, this is their combined kind of like Reichstag fire and Night of Long Knives moment." Okay, and so for those of you who don't know what that is, so the Reichstag fire was a fire that happens soon after the Nazis take over the parliament. They didn't fully take over yet. I think this was in 1933. They take over the parliament, and then there's this Reichstag fire that's ostensibly started by some German anarchists. That's what the official thing is. I've read different reports that speculate the Nazis may have done it themselves, but then I've seen other reports saying that might be from all the evidence does seem to point to a random anarchist. All the real evidence, I guess, seems to support. And they did say something like, it didn't seem like it because it wasn't consistent with the Nazis' like actions at the time. I forgot what the exact detail was, but they were making the case that it didn't line up. Anyway, whatever the case may be, whether it was intentional or not, they used the Reichstag fire basically to say, look, these anarchists, these leftists, they're trying to destroy society. So you just need to give us more power. And it worked. And people are like, yeah, we voted you guys in. You guys need to, do whatever it is. And so the Nazis just introduced a lot of fucking, reforms that kind of consolidated more and more of their power. And I think by 1934, I think that's when Hindenburg dies or something like that. I don't even fucking know. And Hitler becomes the new chancellor as well as the president. I don't even fucking know what the actual thing is. But in Germany, there was a chancellor and a president. I think Hitler was the president, but not the chancellor. I forget. But now he becomes both, and then he just combines them into the Führer. So because of that, once they were in power in 34, there was some kind of like dissent from the Nazi SA. because the Nazi SA, so there were two organizations. There was the Nazi SA and the Nazi SS. The Nazi SA were basically stormtroopers. They were like the Mussolini's black shirts, except they wore brown shirts in Germany. And so they were kind of LARPing like Mussolini's black shirts, but they were basically thugs. They were, lumpenprole like thugs that were recruited by the Nazis to be kind of like their muscle. And the Nazi SS were kind of like more of the refined, I guess, Germans in the Nazi party, or the aristocracy, or the the Heinrich Himmler types. But the Nazi SA were more the brawler types or whatever, and that was Ernst Röhm's kind of like domain. So Ernst Röhm was kind of like the leader of these SA people. And so when the Nazi party kind of like was starting before they came to power, Ernst Röhm was kind of under the impression the entire time that that he would be part of the Wehrmacht, or the reconstituted army, German army, or like that the SA would now become these soldiers for the Nazi party. But then there was a little bit of politicking that was going on, and that didn't really fit Hitler's intentions, and some of the military brass that was already existing in the German kind of system and the Prussian system. And he was like, yeah, I don't know about that. But then, Ernst Röhm, not really happy about that, like starts to, cause trouble and cause like dissent and blah, blah, blah. And so the Night of Long Knives is basically when, I think it was Himmler and Goebbels who kind of like planned this shit, who were like, yeah, we need it. There are all these political opponents. We need a clean house. We need to clean ranks. So they actually like kill a bunch of not only just like random German politicians, but they kill a lot of like their perceived enemies within the Nazi party that are causing this kind of dissent. And they basically they call it like, oh, these were dissident elements within the Nazi party. Ernst Röhm was a homosexual, and we had to get rid of these degenerate things and whatever, which is funny because, they knew he was a homosexual for, a decade. And that actually came from the SPD critiquing them as being a gay party. So that's also a funny little detail where the homosexuality stuff, the anti-gay stuff, was actually from the liberals, and the Nazis were actually pro-gay until they found it useful to be anti-gay for that purpose. And so I call it, or I agree with Sweet Summer Shinu's kind of like assessment that this event, well, from the GOP's perspective, they're treating it as the Reichstag fire, right? Because now they're using it as saying like, look at all these leftists. There's crazy leftists in the country. They're all violent. They're all like blah blah blah. They're all killing us, and et cetera, et cetera. And then America First is using it as their Night of Long Knives. It's like, oh wait, now that Kirk is out of the way, now that Kirk, that fake Kirk who wasn't quote unquote naming the Jew, is out of the way, there's an opportunity for us to take his entire audience, because Kirk is not small fry, right? He's got 3 million, like obviously with all these protests or whatever gatherings going on, or vigils, right now, there's two people right now that are on the hunt for Kirk's audience. One is Ben Shapiro, obviously, and one is Nick Fuentes. They are both trying to poach right now. They are on the fucking hunt because they can smell blood. And once Nick gets that critical mass he's been dreaming of, now he wants that access to the White House. Now he wants that access that Charlie Kirk had. Now he wants that fucking, hey, I'm the guy that's helping Trump change America. Like now I can direct things from the top. Now I can, call things for shot. Like, but he's not ever actually going to do anything. He's not going to do anything material. He's just going to, what he's going to do is just make Gropers feel like they've got someone on the inside when it's just kind of be like, you guys are gonna get rug pulled so fast. It's just funny. It's it's actually kind of pathetic if you think about it. Um, it's like anyone can see how manipulative he is, and people are gonna be like, you know, obviously not his like his most dedicated people, but I feel like this is also possibly an opportunity to poach Gropers, who are like, wait a second, no, you need to. We weren't on the same page. You know, what are you doing? You know, there are going to be maybe like, I don't know. I guess like probably the less committed Gropers who are going to be like, what? This is bullshit. You're not quote unquote naming the Jew anymore. Right? But I think like the idea is that there are enough mainstream Charlie Kirk fans that Nick is now going for, that he thinks that loss is acceptable because there's so many more possible Charlie Kirk fans to get on my team. And so Nick Fuentes is just obviously just like a opportunist. He doesn't even have principles for like, you know, his main selling point. His number one selling point was that he was based enough to name the Jew, right? That was his number one selling point. And the moment he even sniffs an opportunity to the mainstream, he sold y'all out. Y'all won. Y'all Gropers. Y'all Goyim Gropers. That's what I'm going to call you from now on. You guys are Goyim Gropers. You guys fell for it again. You guys win the ultimate fell for it again award. Once Nick, if Nick ever makes it to the Trump White House, that's it. That's it. He's done with y'all. He doesn't need y'all anymore. All your support, you guys are just like the SA. You guys are all going to get fucking roamed. You're going to get fucking roamed. All right. So then, shrimp welfare, I'm going to talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. So you can get the fuck out if, actually, you know what? I'll just do it for you. I'm just like, I don't know why people come into my fucking thing thinking that this is a democracy. This is not a democracy. No one gets to tell me what the fuck I can and can't talk about in this fucking room. Get the fuck out. This isn't a fucking argue with Doug time. This is not that. So you can go fuck yourself. Yeah. That's what this stream is. This is the dictatorship of the Doug Kim brain right now. And so, yeah, I mean, look, we've seen the JFK murders, the Martin Luther King murder, you know, the Malcolm X murder, you know, the Nixon Watergate stuff. And so the reason why all this is happening all the time with our politicians, because they already kind of know that, like, if you fuck with the CIA or if you fuck with Mossad, you're just gonna get fucked. And so, yeah. So part of it might be, like 10% of Nick Fuentes might be just that. Oh shit, I'm actually kind of scared right now. I'll give Nick Fuentes 10% of the benefit of the doubt that he's like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't talk about this anymore for my own life's sake. But because he's coming out so forcefully on the other side, I'm like, and this other thing where, you know, he was just like hanging out with Laura Loomer in some fucking, you know, White House thing. I'm just kind of like, this guy has been a Zionist. Well, not a Zionist per se, but he doesn't mind supporting Zionism if it helps his interests. And that's a thing with Hitler too. If you really look at Hitler's kind of like stuff, all of his like ideological opinions were more shit that he just like came up with, and then he was like, yeah, that's what I believe in. And then he kind of like almost like started to repeat it to himself to make him believe his bullshit. Because like even the anti-Semitism stuff, like he probably wasn't even the most anti-Semitic person of the Nazi Party, right? There were a lot of people like Goebbels who were a lot more emphatic about that, and other people who were, you know, much more intent on executing his plans, like Himmler and Heydrich. But not to say that he wasn't anti-Semitic. I mean, he definitely built his, you know, he built his ark, or he built his house on the foundation of anti-Semitism, right? But just like Hitler would say all this shit that he wouldn't believe in just to get votes, right? Just to get through the electoral process in the 1920s and the 1930s. And immediately after, yeah, like, you know, he had promised the German people all this shit about, you know, fair wages, whatever. But what ended up happening was, after the Nazis took over, they would just like make workers work for like slave wages for these corporations, because they just wanted the corporations to pump out as many munitions as possible. They just wanted maximum military output. They didn't care about worker safety or whatever. They just like made them work to death. And that's why they built the concentration camps. They said it was for political prisoners and all that stuff, but really they just wanted free labor. They wanted to just enslave people to work for them. All right, so you're gone. Thanks for your retarded alt coming in. You can give all the alts you want. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna listen to your shit. I didn't even read what you said. I don't even fucking care. Yeah, but this is not a democracy, so get the fuck out. This is just a 22-person stream. So if you care that much about what one person is telling 22 people, you're either fucking retarded, or you're the one that actually cares. So by saying all that shit, you're betraying your own fucking subjectivity to the world, and you are hence therefore an imbecile and not worth having in my fucking room anyway. So get the fuck out, you fucking retard. Anyway, so yeah, Elon learned quick. I don't know what that's referring to, but oh yeah, Elon learned. I mean, that's what that's what the Trump assassination attempt was too. Like, when you look at the Trump assassination attempt, what happened? Like, right afterwards, he just like, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna win. You know, you have all the fucking." And then what does he do? He picks his fucking JD Vance. He fucking you know, JD Vance is like ultra establishment. You know, I had like fucking Michael Wan on KTSC tell me he wasn't establishment. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, JD Vance was so fucking established. It was not even fucking funny. I was like, you could pick anyone in the fucking world. But why did he pick JD Vance? I'm like, oh shit. Trump got the call. You know? That assassination attempt was basically saying like, hey, you don't toe the line, we know where to find you. We know where to fucking find you. And so I don't know if that was an actual federal thing or not, but Trump thought it was. At least Trump definitely thought it was, because after that he's just towing the line. He's not fucking around anymore. He is establishment to the fucking T. You see him working lockstep with all the Republicans now. All the fucking Republicans that he was dissing and clowning on before. Now they're his BFFs. Now Ricky Rubio. Now Marco Rubio is on his team, Secretary of State, doing the things, getting no pushback at all. Yeah, Palantir, exactly. Direct descendant of one of the people. Wait, what? Are you serious? He's John Wilkes Booth, fucking descendant? That's crazy. And so, you see that what's going on here is Nick Fuentes is just an opportunist, just like Hitler. Just like Hitler was, just like Hitler knew how to play the game. You know, a lot of people don't realize this, but German philosophy and German psychology were cutting edge by the 20th century. You know, Jung, and I think Jung was Austrian. Adler might have been Austrian as well. Freud. One of them was German. I forget. But it was like German and Austrian who were like leading the psychology kind of like science. And it was like Hitler was studying a lot of that shit, because Hitler was not only studying Schopenhauer, he was studying Nietzsche, whatever, but all Schopenhauer and Nietzsche were huge progenitors to like Western psychology, or like Western psychology making. And so Hitler knew how to manipulate. Like when you see his first kind of like stuff into politics, his preparations are him like doing acting poses and like posing for the camera and whatever. They look kind of cringe as fuck now. But like what he was doing, he was practicing. He was building a stage presence, or he was figuring out what was effective to reach out to the masses in Germany. And he figured it out, right? Like he was a great orator. He was able to, massively get people on his side. He was like one of the, I guess, most effective populist leaders in society, precisely because of his stage presence. And so I think this is what Nick Fuentes means when he says, "Oh, I admire Hitler." Because he's not saying I admire, I mean, like, yeah, part of the thing is like he was base enough to name the Jew, right? But the other side is like, oh, he's savvy, he's smart, he knows how to play the game. And he knows how to manipulate pieces so that he's the one in power. And I feel like the same thing is going to happen to his lieutenants, where like Hitler managed his lieutenants the same way I feel like Nick manages his Gropers. He manages them all with like a sense of disdain, like almost like as if he still elevates himself above his lieutenants. And then the lieutenants elevate themselves above the rank and file, of course. And so what I think is happening is that after the Kirk assassination, they definitely probably have these like networks where they probably use messaging apps and shit like that, where we don't even know. They probably use like Signal or some other like disappearing message app, or like maybe a variety of things to like cast off suspicion or detection. But I'm theorizing that Nick has the connection to most of his lieutenants through this kind of like secretive network, and his lieutenants kind of keep the rest of the Gropers in line. That's how I think the power structure works, based on what I've observed. And so I think after the Kirk assassination, he probably quickly went out and was like, this is, if he wasn't aware of it beforehand, if he wasn't tipped off beforehand, I think he must have immediately recognized, A, he could be in danger if he talks about Israel, right? So that's the 10% I'm giving him. But B, this is a chance. This is an opportunity to capitalize. And so when you see him going after fucking and sending his goons after Candace Owens for calling him out, that's when I was like, oh yeah, this guy is fucking just trying to grab. Because Candace Owens was like, yeah, this is fucking opportunistic and slimy as fuck. Because like Candace Owens was an actual friend of Charlie Kirk, and you could see it. They were like homies. They were like making like, if I didn't know any better, I'd be like, are they like fucking? Because they looked pretty tight in those photos. And so she comes out and she's like, this is opportunist, blah. And then right away, immediately you see all these Gropers being like, what are you doing, Candace? We're on the same side. Oh, blah, blah. And it's just kind of like, you dumb fucks. You dumb fucks. All of you last week would have said, fucking, all of you last week, if you had seen this a similar incident, you would have said, and it wasn't Charlie Kirk or something, you would have been like, yeah, this was Israel. All of you. You fucking disgusting, degenerate fucks. And, Candace Owens is calling out Nick Fuentes' ass on this correctly. And they're all trying to, like, run interference, knowing for a fact that they're fucking full of shit. They're trying to take this Christian high ground. They're trying to make themselves the representative of Christianity, because that's what Charlie Kirk kind of made himself. He made himself the representative of American Christianity a little bit with his rhetoric and whatever. So that's why you have a lot of American Christians incensed right now. Nick Fuentes has not been able to do that because A, he's Catholic and most Americans are Protestant, right? But B, everyone can see that his Christianity, quote unquote, is fucking fraudulent. So it's just like this stupid fucking thing where I don't know if it'll work or not, because I don't know if people are that stupid to fall for Nick Fuentes. If Christians are stupid enough to fall for Nick Fuentes' stuff, I would more imagine that, yeah, but the Christians obviously, if your competition is Ben Shapiro for that audience and you're presenting yourself as a Catholic, now it's like, hey, at least I'm not Jewish. I'm your guys' religion, right? So you guys got to come over to me. I mean, what other Christian right-wing speaker is there now? I mean, you gotta close the ranks, right? And so when Candace is calling him out, he's like, wait, you're not letting me fucking poach the audience. And that's why they were so fucking mad at Candace. They're not mad at him because they think that, left wingers are trying to pin this on the Gropers and Nick's scared about that. No, they are in full, we need to steal Kirk's audience mode. Like, they don't give a fuck. Like, they're sociopaths. They don't care about Kirk dying. They don't actually care about the actual incident. All they care about is how much influence can they grab from Kirk right now. And so, yeah, that's why, if you're a Groiper listening to this, I'm telling you, like, the moment you're just gonna become a Goyim Groiper if Nick Fuentes ever smells even like the fucking room of the Oval Office. If Nick Fuentes sniffs the Oval Office, you guys are all gonna be just fucking Goyim Groipers, and he's gonna just jettison you to nowhere, because his new audience is just gonna be all those conservative, MAGA, whatever, mainstream people. And that's just gonna be that's just who he's gonna cater to, because he just caters to whoever's gonna give him the most amount of money, or the most amount of respect, or the most amount of clout, or the most amount of whatever it is that, he's just like a garden variety narcissist, just like Hitler was. That's generally what Hitler was. Like, the reason Hitler was so incensed was because he was a failed artist. That's the end of the day. Like, along with a lot of the early Nazis, they were just kind of angry because they weren't part of the aristocracy. That's really kind of like who they were. They were kind of like, oh, we're not, like, and Hitler himself, he was obviously not happy that he wasn't accepted into Vienna's art schools. But it was also kind of like, he saw, oh, these Jews got to do all this shit that I didn't get to do in this art and all this other stuff. And Wagner told me, my opera hero told me that they're all fucking parasites. So they were in my way the entire time. That's the basis of Hitler's actual anti-Semitism. His basis was, I was never cool enough to make it in art on my own. And so I'm going to hate on these people that I perceive as the people that were in my way. And in a way, that's exactly what Nick Fuentes is, right? That's exactly what he is. He's saying that, you know, I'm seen as an incel, and y'all see me as an incel, and like I'm gaining all these people, you know, like to my side, and you know I'm gonna get revenge for us against the people who kept us down, right? Against the feminists, against the leftists who kept us down, against these you know, wokeists, against these quote unquote Jews, right? And so that was Nick Fuentes for the longest time. He's basically like the resentment that Nietzsche talks about. That was actually the Nazi Party, and that's actually Nick Fuentes. The resentment of not being like cool in society. But now that he's gonna get all that and more if he just toes the line, you think he's gonna care about the random Groper incel anymore? No. You guys all just gotta like fall for it again. You guys played yourselves, and you guys are just gonna become the Goyim Gropers. Don't touch my guns. Ban communism. Abortion is bad. Wait, what? Charlie's audience was mostly mainstream milquetoast right wingers. Doug, what is the Fuentes turn you're speaking about, though? He hasn't spoken since you eulogized it. The Fuentes turn is him not saying it was fucking Israel. That's the fucking Fuentes turn. And every single time a big thing happens, he's always like, it's the Jews, it's Israel. And he prided himself on being the first person to say that, you know, in the mainstream, I guess, for the past 6, 7, 8 years. And now all of a sudden, the most obvious Israel event moment, or, well, you know, obviously we don't know 100% because we'll never know 100%, just like we'll never know that the CIA killed JFK 100%. But the most likely culprit being Israel, and all of a sudden, Nick Fuentes being too scared to say it, that's the fucking turn. And if you don't see that, you're just fucking retarded. I'm sorry. You're just fucking retarded. No, he didn't say that it wasn't Israel. He's just not saying that it was Israel. And yes, that is a fucking turn. I don't care what anyone fucking says. That's a fucking turn. It doesn't fucking matter, Paul Kim. It doesn't fucking matter. His omission is basically him saying that it wasn't. Because the other thing was that the ADL just came out with a list of anti-Semites that were saying it was Israel. And Nick Fuentes wasn't on that list because he officially didn't say anything about it. Because he knew. He knew. He got the fucking call, all right? Well, you can disagree all you want. They're just fucking retarded. I'm sorry. If you don't realize that, you're just fucking retarded. I'm sorry. Like, you're either a Nick Fuentes ball sucker if you don't figure that out, or you're just retarded. There's just no in between. Like, look at this shit. Look at this shit. After failing to name Israel, Nick Fuentes was excluded from an ADL report on anti-Semitic conspiracy theories regarding Israel involvement in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Names in the report included Jackson Hinkle, Ian Carroll, Paul Miller, and the other thing the fucking Gropers were doing, they were trying to boost the shit about the ACP being involved. You know what they tried to do? That's how I know. That's how I know this is all fucking planned. This is how I know. This is how I know it was all fucking planned. Let me see. Where was it? All right, so then
is clear. You got a sick like.
No, not that. We'll talk about that though. blah, 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 blah. Just like fucking look at this shit. Are you fucking kidding me?
Takeover of the Republican Party.
Absolutely.
Like, are you fucking kidding me? This is a fucking double agent Zionist. This is a fucking double agent. Like, no, Paul Kim, you're just acting like another fucking. You know what? You get it. You get a timeout too. I'm sorry. You get a timeout. You get a timeout too. I'm not gonna suffer retarded shit on my streams right now. I don't care. I don't care. You can hate me, Paul Kim. I'm sorry, but this is not a democracy here. This is dictatorship of Doug Kim, and Doug Kim does not like retarded shit on his feeds. So, but this is the other thing too. Where did I write it? Where did I write it? I think I had it. Yeah. Like, this is what I'm talking about. So you're saying there's a group of people on the right more extreme than Charlie Kirk? These N-words have no idea what's coming. This is what I'm talking about. They are literally trying to poach right now. This is what they're trying to do. Like, don't fucking tell me that it's a coincidence. Don't tell me that Nick Fuentes is just waiting for the facts. Get the fuck out of my fucking face. Like, if you're that retarded, I don't even fucking want you in my fucking channel. That's the fucking truth. Like, this is just fucking retarded. Waiting for the facts. Yeah. Like, he waits for the facts when it comes to Israel ever? Are you kidding me? Get the fuck out. Where's my thing? What was I saying? Oh, yeah. All right, so this is the other thing I wrote up last night that I kind of wanted to read. All right, so this is just like something I wrote up last night. This is the analysis. This is the actual analysis of the entire situation. All right, so I kind of like digested stuff from the left, digested stuff from the right. We all know what fucking happened in the past 5 years, right? So I think like the big thing that Western leftists are extremely retarded at is actual historical material analysis, because they can't think outside the past 3 months of what happened, past 6 months maybe, if we're lucky. Like their attention spans are just related to what goodies am I not going to get anymore from the American government because I'm a degenerate, lazy piece of shit. That's the only thing that they're concerned about. So because of that, you had the friendly Doug Kim kind of rewind and be like, hey, let's see what happened in the past 5 to 10 years, okay? Okay, so many things can be seen simultaneously true that seem like contradictions. The right has historically killed figures like Kirk on the left all the time, particularly during the 1960s and 1970s in the thick of the Cold War, oftentimes with state backing so that either patsies were prosecuted or nothing happened at all. I mean, this is just like, we all know this fucking happened. Martin Luther King, obviously, Malcolm X, the Black Panthers, Fred Hampton, obviously. Just everyone was just fucking killed, and they were state sanctioned. Okay, so yeah, the right has no fucking argument of like, we don't actually attack the like. Shut the fuck up, you dumb fucks. Like Elon Musk saying that shit, he's just like so fucking retarded. All right, so but then, see, I am a fair judge here, so because I'm saying Western leftists were annoying fucking freaks. This is 100% true. They were fucking freaks since Biden, all right? Until 2024 when woke started to die. So like by 2024, that's when I saw woke starting to actually die because people were getting sick of the same fucking bullshit every day. But the fucking wokesters that didn't get the memo, they started to act like anarchist Nazis when people were starting to stop becoming woke. And particularly when it came to defending trans ideology. Because, let's face it, they didn't care about black people. Are you fucking kidding me? They just cared about their own fucking degenerate interests and saving their own fucking, like, you know, whatever. Not only that, George Floyd was also quickly co-opted by black bourgeoisie who grifted off BLM for their own financial interests. We all saw the fucking BLM leaders buying mansions in Los Angeles and whatever. This is all fucking bullshit. We all know that's bullshit by now. And so not only that, they encouraged this idea of we need to fight for our reparations. But they weren't going to do it themselves, right? The bourgeoisie, the black liberals, the ones that are controlling the media stuff, they're not going to go outside themselves and like riot or whatever. But they're just going to say like, you know what? We deserve reparations. We deserve this. We deserve that and blah, blah, blah. But they're running interference for the fucking black lumpenproll criminals who are doing this shit, especially to Asian Americans, obviously. Like, we all fucking saw that, did we not? But yeah, so they're backed by these DAs that were all funded by George Soros in liberal cities. So what Soros did was he figured out, hey, it costs billions of dollars to get a president, hundreds of millions of dollars to get a senator, but it only kind of costs like a couple, 2-3 million to kind of buy a DA here or two. So what I'm going to do is just buy every single fucking DA in every single liberal city and promote this fucking open society nonsense bullshit, along with, promote black liberals who are saying this fucking reparations nonsense and encouraging lump and proll activity. And that is how I'm going to fucking get, this influence in this fucking country. Through these fucking DAs. All right, so the right, in turn, because they're seeing all this hypocrisy, they make countless memes a joke of death of George Floyd. And they make racist memes in general, revealing their hypocrisy. So yeah, we might not have a leftist like Charlie Kirk that's getting assassinated, but all these other like people that, are marginalized and oppressed that are getting killed by police, the right has been making fun of them for forever. So it's not like the right has this sanctity of life going on. That's fucking full. It's just like fucking hypocrite pieces of shit. All right. Yeah, that's right. I'm giving both to the left and the right. You guys are all fucking hypocrites. Then a small but extremely vocal part of the extreme Nazi right also transmaxed on purpose in order to give the idpol meta and to partake in more degenerate activities on the cover of wokeism and LARP as leftists. So this was going on. This was actually going on. I've seen more than one case where a trans person was like, oh yeah, I was a former Nazi. I was like, I heard this multiple times, like from a lot of trans people. And I was like, wait a second. Are you guys not Nazis anymore? Because you kind of seem like you still are Nazis. But then there was also people who were like, wait a second. If I'm just going to be an incel, no matter what, well, why don't I turn into a woman so I can gain access to women's spaces? Like, that was just so fucking obvious that this shit was going on too, where people were like, especially in Seattle, right? Where they fucking made the Korean spa, the female-only Korean spa in Seattle, these fucking white trans activists made them open up to these fucking gross pieces of shit with dicks. Like, I'm sorry, if I'm a woman, I don't want to see a fucking penis in the spa that I'm naked in. It's just not something I want to fucking see, ever. So the fucking bullshit that's going on. I don't know. Maybe I can't speak for women in general. Maybe woke women don't mind seeing penises when they go to a female only spa. But I think if I were a woman, I think I would mind, right? Wokeism also was revealed to be a CIA psyop. We all saw that. Trump defunded USAID. All these fucking programs were revealed like, hey, let's have a transgender fucking opera in I don't know, fucking Indonesia or some shit. Like where like people are like 90% Muslim or whatever. And it's just like, what are you fucking talking about? Why are we spending money on transgender fucking operas in random countries that hate transgenderism? You weirdos. Okay, so the most normal people who are not terminally online do not care about Floyd or Kirk in their daily lives. And the aggregate effect online on both sides is being heavily manipulated by federal and foreign intelligence agencies. And that was also, I kind of like asked normies. You know, I have normies in my life, in my IRL life, that I kind of like asked from time to time, hey, so what are people in your circle kind of saying about this shit? And a lot of people are just kind of like, you know, somebody got shot. I guess I'll move on with life. And to be honest, like, you know, they probably weren't like that about George Floyd. But honestly, I think they're just getting like assassination fatigue, which may or may not be a good thing. But in general, people are just kind of like over it. They don't really care. You know, Kirk was not a politician, not an official politician. And so most people are like, you know, I guess he died. They weren't even like celebrating one way or another. It's like, oh, okay, whatever. And most of these people, you know, are probably like at least center left or left leaning, right? And so it's like no one cares. No one actually cares about this in real life and like in the real world. Like it's only like bourgeois leftists and rightists who actually care about this identity shit. It's only communists who are pointing out the Israel shit. Communists and anti-imperialists or anti-Zionists, they're all calling this shit out. But as far as the right and left angles on this, that's all just like bourgeois nonsense. It's like, oh, yeah, you're angry because you think, you know, Joe Schmo off the street was laughing about Charlie Kirk's death. That might be living in a democratic state or something. That guy probably didn't even fucking vote. This random person is just kind of like over it. And because like that's the other thing too, like working class people, most of the fucking actual left, the people that should be left or represented by the left, they're too busy fucking working. They're too busy putting food on the table to like go online and see all this fucking nonsense to be like, haha. They don't even have a job that you can cancel them from. That's the fucking line. That's the actual line. If you can actually cancel someone for their political opinion, that is a bourgeois job. Like the person at the fucking mechanic, like if I was like working for a mechanic store or something like, or a mechanic or like as a mechanic at a car shop or whatever, they would just like be like, oh, he laughed at that? Oh, okay, whatever. Actual working place people with like proletariat workers that they actually need for, you know, work shit to get done, like a truck driver or whatever, and like, you know, they don't fucking care. They're like, oh, well, he gets the job done, so what does that have to do with me? That's the thing too, like getting people fired for their job is, I'm just kind of like, whatever. Do it if it rocks your fucking boat, fucking go for it. But it's not like you're this like crusader for justice for doing that. You're just like getting rid of like other left bourgeois. You're just like right bourgeois against left bourgeois, and it's just nobody fucking cares. All right, let's see the end of this. I'll put myself over here. Yeah, it's cancel culture is just bourgeois nonsense. Because like when you really think about it, only bourgeois jobs you can get canceled from for saying an opinion that somebody doesn't like. I mean, I guess if you pissed off your actual boss, if you're a proletariat, yeah, you'd get fired. But you're not going to get fired if the guy doesn't care about politics himself at all. So if your boss doesn't care about politics and you just post like something about Charlie Kirk or George Floyd or whatever, nothing's going to happen to you, like most likely. But most likely you wouldn't even have time to post shit online because you're too busy fucking actually working. So it's like all this fucking nonsense. That's the thing. Like you could tell who's really, like, I said before that there are litmus tests on the last stream. Like, you could tell, like, who's an actual real, not even just a real leftist, obviously, from all the, the Russian SMO and whatever, but you could tell now who's a fake rightist. Or rather, not a fake rightist, but a right-winger who really just is about one domestic issue rather than the entire kind of like superstructure. They always like to say that, Republicans are the ones that kind of suspect their government, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, you guys are eating this fucking narrative wholesale that a transgender spider them killed this man. You guys not even like examining the edit. You're just taking it at face value from the fucking FBI, who you were all angry about, for going after Trump, just 2 years ago, just last year, right? You're all angry at the FBI, and now all of a sudden the FBI is saying all the true things. It's like, oh, I see. You guys weren't actually angry at the FBI for saying shit. You were just angry at the FBI for saying shit, not saying shit that you wanted to hear. Like, as long as the FBI is saying shit that you want to hear, you're cool with them. But as long as they're, and you're so cool up to the point where you're not going to even question anything of the narrative they're saying. First it was transgender bullets, which we still haven't seen so far. And as far as I know, I don't think transgender bullets are gruesome. I think that they are just bullets that you can kind of just see if they have these weird markings that they claim. And they don't talk about the cameras that all of a sudden disappeared that were clearly in view, recording Charlie Kirk, because guess what? This was a very publicized event, so there were a lot of cameras on Charlie Kirk at the time of the assassination. Now, why wouldn't they look at every single piece of evidence and why would they exclude a lot of this video evidence that they have? And why wouldn't they share a lot of this video evidence that they have? Why indeed, right? There's just like so many inconsistencies that it's like, the right is known also for being the conspiracy theory party, right? And it's like this has all the echoes of 63 in Dallas. Like, has anyone who has actually taken any time to research the fucking JFK assassination, like, you would see all the fucking similarities here. And so for the right to be like, yeah, it was a transgender that, oh wait, no, the bullets were trans. Wait, no, the gun was transgender. Oh wait, no, the gunman was transgender. No, the roommate was transgender. Oh, cuz their neighbors saw them holding hands once. Oh, and the Discord was also, wait, no, they don't have any Discord evidence. It's transgender. It's transgender. I'm not gonna lie. Trying to find a transgender Patsy in Patsy Needle in a haystack of Mormons. That's gonna be quite a challenge for you, Kash Patel. Quite a challenge, and I think you probably chose, and who's to say this isn't just Patsy number 2, right? Because we already had one Patsy who was just like the old ass Jewish guy in the middle of fucking Utah, this Ashkenazi Jewish man in a fucking sea of Mormons, just being like, it was me, shoot me, kill me. Like, how fucking suspicious is that? And then what else happens? So this Patsy apparently now is saying, he's not cooperating with authorities. He's not admitting that he did it. But wait a second. The whole story was that his father and his pastor turned him in because he admitted it to them. So wait a second. You're telling me that this it's just so doesn't make sense at all. It's just like Thank you, Dark Messenger. I don't know who you are, but just welcome to the channel. I don't know if you've caught the pass, but I put a channel member in timeout for 24 hours, so he's welcome to come back after. But we do not accept any retarded dissent on this channel. This is a authoritarian. Oh yeah, I should show my shirt here. So I wore this shirt today. My mom does not like this shirt at all. She actually didn't know what it was until I explained it to her. But the shirt is Kim Il Sung and Kim Jong Il. This is a shirt that's it's kind of like a picture of the statue that is in Pyongyang, in the middle of the mall. And so yeah, this is an authoritarian Korean communist channel. We are Korean, and we are communist, and we are authoritarian. No dissent goes. But, it's only 24 hours, so he can come back if he decides not to spew nonsense again. Yeah, I think a lot of Asian diaspora moms would not like this t-shirt. But let me get back. Let me just, I think I've done enough with the I think I've done enough. Dark Messenger, where are you coming from, by the way? Are you ACP, or are you something else? But yeah. Oh shit, it's been like over 2 hours. Okay, I've been yapping a long time here, so I guess I could do, if anyone's posting the NGL, try to see if you guys did anything there. But if not, any last questions? No questions there. Yeah, so everyone on this channel, I'm gonna send them a gift. I'm gonna send them these shirts to wear. That's your reward for watching this channel. You get to have a shirt that your mom would hate. All your moms will hate. It's so funny because like my mom was like, "Oh, kumchika, kumchika." I was like, "I'm not even going outside right now." It's like kumchika. Yeah. But yeah. Unless anyone has any other questions, I'm gonna be ending the stream. I think I've said enough about Nick. I guess like the reason I am kind of saying it. Oh yeah. So one of the Gropers, or someone, either the Gropers or somebody else, basically accused the ACP of being responsible for the murder, and by like pointing at some stupid thing where Hassan, or one of them, like said that he was part of the ACP Utah. And that was a 4chan post. And I immediately quote tweeted and said 4chan was revealed to be Mossad because earlier this year it showed that like I think it was like 70% of POL that I guess POL thread on 4chan, 60 or 70% of the posts were from Israel. So that is a lot of Mossad doing this. That's going on. But we do suspect that now the Gropers are doing everything to A, deflect blame from themselves, right? Because, Nick Fuentes doesn't want to get killed. And B, poach Charlie Kirk's audience. And C, transition into Nick's next phase where he becomes a Tucker Carlson, where he becomes a Charlie Kirk, where he becomes one of these guys or whatever. And yeah, and when you watch the Gropers, you can kind of see that too. When in that stream right after Kirk's death, everyone was like, yeah, like Nick Fuentes, he's on his win stream, he's got 150K people watching, all these people watching. Yeah, all these people watching just to see him sell the fuck out. That's what people were seeing. People were seeing him fucking sell the fuck out. So that's my message. My message to your Gropers is like, hey, you're always welcome to join the actual truth teller. The actual guy who's got it all figured out. The actual guy who probably knows more about Hitler than your boy, actually. Like, I've studied this guy probably more than any human actually should. Actually, any communist actually ever did. I feel like I'm like, yeah, if I were to guess, I would probably be the world's communist expert on Adolf Hitler at this point. Or at least Nazi or German Nazism. Actually, there might be some Italian Marxists that might be ahead of me. I don't want to overshadow my exaggerate my skill. Maybe some German Marxists, maybe some Italian Marxists might know a little bit more. But outside of that, in America, I feel pretty confident that I am the Hitlerologist of communism or actual communists. Otto Strasser, the Strasser brothers. I know a little bit. I know that they were kind of like actual like socialists. But of course, Goebbels and co were not about that life at that point. Goebbels actually kind of like was flirting with communism as well, like actual socialism. But he kind of like was like, oh, that's not what we're doing. Okay, never mind. And it's really Hitler that was like, all right, that's not where we're going here. So I haven't researched Strasserism specifically, but I kind of know a little bit about the Strasser brothers. But I have to kind of like read that to know more in detail. Why? What do you think about them, Wang Nichen? Are they cool? But yeah. Anyhow. Yeah, that's it for me today. I think I am somewhat, I don't know. It's funny. Do you think I should actually be concerned for my life? I think there was a friend of mine did say, hey, I appreciate your going after the Gropers and all, but maybe tone it down a little bit. You might be putting a target on your back. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not actually scared about the Gropers. I'm actually scared about, if anything, it's always, CIA and Israel, right? Those are the people I'm actually scared of, because you never know what they're planning. And they could make it look like it was a Groper, right? That's the thing. Like, I could be killed by a Groper, but I wouldn't even be confident in saying that the Groper was responsible. I'd be like, wait. In that room, I'd be like, just tell me one thing. Are you CIA? Just tell me one thing before you kill me. Are you CIA? And they'll be like, yeah, I'm CIA. All right, dead. I'm like, all right, I was right at least. Okay, you can kill me now. I was like, just one thing. I just want to know if you're CIA, no matter who comes to kill me, if they give me a chance to talk to them first, I'll be like, just let me know. Just let me know. All right. You're going to kill me in 5 seconds or 10 seconds anyway. Just give me the satisfaction of knowing that it was CIA. All right. No, I know that the Marx enemy exists. I do want to read it, see it at some point, but I am, I'm reading this. Franz Mehring. This was published in 1918. So it's actually interesting because it is about Karl Marx, but it also kind of is about German history in the 1800s. So it's filling in a little bit of the gaps that I have in my knowledge about kind of like what was going on with like, Goethe and all these people and whatever. Also filling in a lot of gaps with, the history of anti-Semitism. This is kind of like also an overview of like what was going on in Europe. Apparently the biggest thing for Jews, like I guess their Juneteenth was somewhat kind of like the Napoleonic Wars. But that kind of caused a lot of dissent from German people because they're like, oh, these French, they're just like caping for the Jews, right, or whatever. And then like even the Russians weren't happy about that. So the Russians, and that caused, I'm reading about that, so whatever. But yeah, just say I'm an FBI informant. Wait, what? How would that help me? But yeah. Anyway, again, I don't know why I'm still yapping. All right, I'll see you on Thursday. Hopefully, well, no, actually, sorry. No, I won't be here on Thursday. So this Thursday, actually, should I even say this? I actually don't even know if I should say publicly. I'll just say there's an event that's going on in San Francisco. It's about the Japanese war crimes, or it's about like what's it called? It's called the Understanding World War II Atrocities in the Pacific. It's a free event. It's in San Francisco. If you're in the area and you're Asian, I highly encourage you to go just to learn about it. But I won't be in town, so I won't be streaming on Thursday. I'll be kind of like busy doing shit. So sorry about that. So next time I will be coming back, I think Sunday, hopefully. And I might also review the 731 movie because I might see that in San Francisco as well. So I encourage you also to... Oh, Andrew, are you in San Francisco? Yeah, I encourage everyone to watch that movie, especially if they're in California, because I'm sure you can find a theater that's playing it. In LA, there's plenty of theaters that are showing it in SGV. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, then were you already going to it, Andrew? But yes, I will be there. I was invited by a friend who runs the organization, and I was reviewing a book that is going to be released there as well. And so yeah, it'll be a good time. I guess like hopefully nobody will watch this and come and kill me. But if they do, it was CIA, it was Mossad, okay? If anyone kills me, if I ever die under mysterious circumstances, no matter who kills me, it could be my own mom, it could be my dad, it could be my no matter who it is, it was Mossad, all right? It was CIA, it was Mossad, one of those two, maybe both, Five Eyes, Six Eyes, all these intelligence agencies, yeah. No matter what they say, no matter who it was, no matter who the patsy is, yeah. Let's just say that's the fucking God's honest truth. Because you know what? You know what I realized? People talk a lot of shit about like being violent, about like people with bad opinions online. But nobody really has the balls to do anything about someone who actually said anything. And that's why I think ultimately the Charlie Kirk thing is bullshit. Because I'm like, let's be real. No one is going to die. No one is going to throw their entire life away for Charlie Kirk. I'm sorry. That's just not a thing. All right. So with that, I bid you adieu, and I'll see you next time.